Thanks.
Okay, great. So let's start. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. We can see that, as Krista said, that we're quite like spread from different countries, and thank you so much for that. So the reason that we are here today, it's the first info session that we are having for and we're holding for the European organizers, in which we'll be explaining more about what we're trying to do, what we are looking for. We are looking for new EIT Climate-KIC partners to collaborate with us on the European ClimAccelerator program. As you can see, we have prepared some slides for you today, so we can go through who we are from Climate-KIC, what we're doing in ClimAccelerator program, and of course some practicalities around the expression of interest. As you can see, as I also will tell you later, the application phase is open until the 15th of March. So let's go, let's delve deeper, and I leave it up to Sebastian to introduce the Climate-KIC.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank
Happy
you.
to be here. Welcome, everyone. We are a little bit over 20 participants. That's very good. And we are also taking a look at the chat to see where you're joining this call from. So I'm Sebastian, based in Barcelona, Entrepreneurship Program Manager. Happy to be here in order to share with you the baseline information in the context of the current expression of interest. Also, we will be sharing a little bit about the team that is behind this, and also the customer journey, sort of speaking, regarding the next steps, but that's going to come in the next slide. About us, probably some of you already know Climate-KIC, have engaged with Climate-KIC in the past, or were thinking about engaging with Climate-KIC at the moment. So you have our probably most traditional definition in the screen. We are Europe's leading climate innovation agency. One keyword that is very key for Climate-KIC is the system innovation approach that we use in order to create disruptive climate-driven innovations across different ecosystems, not just around Europe, but also throughout the world. And we aim to use the system innovation in order to help places, value chains, industries, ecosystems to become more climate friendly by 2030. We have been around for over a little bit more than 13 years now. We can go into the next. And this is a little bit of the back end that supports the current climate acceleration expression of interest context. Martin is going to be here with us today with a couple of words. Then we have a nice combination of impact experts and gender mainstreaming talent within the team. Alex, of course, that you already know, Krista, that is with us today from the comm side. And we also have an angle here regarding investment and how it becomes part of a wider journey of innovation across Europe that is being accelerated or supported by us at the moment. We can continue to the next. Just to give you an idea of what we understand by systems innovation, we truly believe that the only authentic and scalable way in order to drive this innovation into ecosystems is through different capacities that are part of the same, let's say, puzzle. We're talking here about academic, government, private efforts, but also entrepreneurial innovation, ESOs, as we understand them, enterprise or entrepreneurship support organizations that help us to trigger massive leaps for decarbonization in order to help value change to happen across different levels of society and systems as a whole. We define this as a new model to catalyze systemic change in a simultaneous way. Maybe in the next, we can see a little bit more regarding how we structure different ecosystems with different types of partners across Europe and different other regions in the world. What we understand as the Global South, we help to connect solutions and skills and capacities to shift mindsets. And if you've been reading about Climate-KIC, probably you've seen all the efforts that we do in order to demonstrate that the kind of approaches that we have in systems, in cities, actually work. And we call these deep demonstrations. And probably if you're based in Slovenia or in Ireland, you've seen or participated in some of these demonstrations. In the next, we can see a little bit of how different stakeholders interact with us at different levels. So we work at a global level with agencies like UNIDO and the United Nations bodies for climate change, but also we interact ourselves with several pan-European agencies that help us bring this catalytic change into systems more from an institutional and governmental point of view. We have a specific platforms like the ones that I just mentioned before, with the Irish Aid or with the government of Slovenia, helping local value chains to create a condition so these demonstrations can happen climate-wise. We also work at a subnational and city levels. Several examples, for example, in our platforms in Spain with several entities in Madrid. But we have also been developing a nice footprint regarding corporate acceleration with entities like Munich Re, Amazon, Bank of America, amongst others. What we've seen is that even if they are separated by lines in this slide, at the end, it has more of a matricial or a matrix structure because we engage with corporates, but then with public local authorities, we add layers of value, but then we bring innovations through entrepreneurship, and then we make them scalable and visible through institutions, pan-European or global institutions. So it's always a systemic approach. Maybe in the next, you can see a little bit about our footprint as of 2024 of how the ClimAccelerator partners have been spreading across different regions. Of course, as the grassroots of Climate-KIC are based in Europe, you can see how dense that is, but also there are interesting footprints, and that's hopefully going to increase in the next years in Latin America, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Africa as well, but also Southeast Asia and several locations there. And as we're going to see in the next slide, what we do is that we create capacities in order for your local context to be impacted in a way that it can create a track record, like the one that you see in the screen at the moment. This is our cumulative track record since 2017 in terms of the amount of partnerships that we have gathered, both funding and delivery partners across different regions, over 6,000 climate positive startups supported during this time through different programs. We do have a very strong angle regarding investment and attracting financing vehicles. So we close that gap regarding the need of climate innovations to scale. That's why we have attracted a little bit over 2.9 billion euros to startups in the last years. And the combined market value of alumni startups that we have supported is over 12 billion at the moment. We are also very focused in terms of job creation. Once we see that an innovation can create jobs, we start to feel or to see symptoms of its true sustainability. So that's why we have this track record here, over 10,000 FTEs created during the last years as well, right? And we also, as Climate-KIC, act as a pass-through entity regarding grants, and we have distributed through our ecosystems a little bit over 30 million in the last years. And we do have an instrument called Climate Safe. This is a portfolio of companies that are engaged in Climate-KIC from an investment optic, and we have over 97 companies there. And then I'm going to leave you with Morten, talk a little bit over our climate entrepreneurship footprint.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. And I'm digging a little bit deeper into what it is in terms of the Climate-Accelerator and the climate entrepreneurship. Next slide, please. So what is it that we're actually offering? Sebastian has touched upon it, and you could say that the capacity building we see as one of the areas that are extremely important in order to support the partners that we are working with, that is you, in terms of delivering the different programs that we have available as an operational system. We are, of course, also focused on venture scaling. We want to scale the right ones in order to provide the real impact. And here again, we have a keen interest within the CO2 savings. The innovative clusters, we want to create the community, both in terms of making sure that you're right positioned within the ecosystem, but also that we continue to grow not just us, but you as a partner. So we are not just seeing this as a program where there is a delivery partner, but a strategic partnership. Next slide, please. We as an organization, we have also grown compared to previously, where we were in the bottom of the this overview, focusing mainly on just scaling startups without a clear objective. Now we are moving towards having more focused on the demand, where we want to combine not just innovative startups, but also creating the right demand for the innovative solutions. And you can say that we're moving here slowly upstream in order to arrive at a point ideally in the middle where we are, but we are supporting both in, you could say here in 1, 2, and 3, both from the bottom, but moving towards the top in order to make these transformational changes. Next slide. So this is our overview of how we are supporting or creating the pipeline of climate innovation. We have the climate funds that maybe you've heard about, where we are working specifically with the cities in order to create ideations for new ideas that then can be implemented or incubated, first of all, within our climate launchpad. We have the accelerator, the climate accelerator that we are speaking about today. And as you've seen, we have this is giving us a possibility also to create the investment pipeline that is both in terms of our climate safe program, but also a new fund that has been set up. And we have additional information on this, the 1.5 fund, both in terms of early stage and later stage. And this is our way in order to create from the ideally very early stage in order to arrive at a point where the startups are then also scaling and able to continue their journey. Next slide. So here you could see that we have like the entrepreneurial support very clearly in the normal sense with the support to the startups, the business development, the mentorship opportunities that gives both you and us the possibility to support the startups. And then we have the climate impact and the gender mainstreaming. Within our network, as I was mentioning, the demand, we have different organizations that are then supplying both the demand side, but then also as you as an organization able to support the startup specifically. Next slide, please. Yeah, so again, focusing on the startups. This is what we have actually done so far within the Climate Accelerator. It's more than 10 years that we're supporting within what we call the operational system, where we have a very proven track record, both in terms of how many programs we have supported and also how many startups. However, it is, as I mentioned before, it is a strategic partnership that we're looking for. So this is done in combination, and your success, we are very keen on supporting here. Next slide. But what does it actually take then to be able to form a strategic partnership with us? I think this is very important. We have created rather clear branding materials for you that will be available, and that is we've seen that is extremely important for attracting the startups. We have the DNA that you're able to use as a partner and also to co-create in terms of your input in continued developing. The impact tools that we are very keen on using on the startups in order to make sure that they actually have a positive impact. And these data, we want to share them ideally because it's important that both you and the startups, they see the impact at the global scale. And then, of course, you will be part and connect within our global network and also the community where best practices are shared. So this is a journey that is not just by signing an agreement. This is a continued journey as we see it. Next slide. So we have different things available. I can dig in a little bit deeper, but maybe also later on we'll have time for questions. So if there's anything specific that we need to take more specific on. But the branding I mentioned, the tools that are all available on our operational systems, the impacts, the community. The peer-to-peer learning is extremely important for us, that you continue to be proactively within the network. And then, of course, that we have the possibility now also to provide additional scaling assistance from our funds, but also within our climate safe programs. We have updated a little bit in terms of how we are managing our organizational systems. So the ones that have been working with us before, you might see some updates in terms of Notion that we've been using. So we're trying to be a little bit more specific in terms of the modules that we're offering. Gender is a very keen area that we want to collaborate more in. Within the system, I mentioned the operational systems, and then in general, in terms of the partners or ESOs that we work together with, how can we improve together? And this, of course, we have then also created a specific handbook that we continue to update. Next slide. In terms of the startups also here, focusing a little bit more broader in terms of the impact, but having a clear interest within the areas mentioned. There's gender, the circularity, and then also other topics that might not be very clear on the radar for everybody, but for example, how the startups are actually creating and prospering within the ecosystem is one of the areas that is very important for us. Yeah, next slide, please. I will leave the word to Alexandros. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Morten. So now that you have like a rough idea of what we're doing in Climate-KIC and the ClimAccelerator program, let's dive a bit more to the practicalities of this EOI. First of all, it's the organizer criteria. What we're looking for, in other words, we're looking for entrepreneurship support organization, as we also like frequently refer to as ESOs. This can be accelerator, incubators, venture beaters, hubs, or co-working space with innovation work, and of course a proven track record. Ideally, we're looking for partners that they have already delivered a program, organized a program, or participated in a program towards the big under like a big umbrella of the climate change. But of course, we are open to the other like opportunities as well. All these ESOs should come like from the member states of the EU, including their outmost regions or third countries associated to Horizon Europe. If you're not familiar with the list, we can also like provide the link in the chat. Besides the organizer criteria, for this round of the EOI, we have identified two thematic areas for our partners. The first one is the energy efficiency, and the second one is the circular economy. As you can see, as you can read for the first one, and as we navigate the complexities of the climate change and the energy crisis, the importance of energy efficiency has never been more pronounced. Accelerators like focused on energy efficiency serve not only as dynamic platform from driving innovation, but also like the means to do it and progress. The organizers would deliver accelerators in sub-themes of such as optimizing energy consumption, reducing environmental impact, and of course, sustainable energy practice. On the other hand, and towards the same commitment to fostering a sustainable and resilient future, we recognize the imperative in embracing the circular economy and circular practices principles. The essence of a circular economy lies, as you probably already know, in creating a regenerative system that minimize like waste, optimize resource use, and promote sustainable practices. These accelerators towards the circular practices, we believe that play a pivotal role, not only advancing and sharing the same vision as we do, but also towards the industrial circularity. Then we have the evaluation criteria, as you can also like read in the official call document here, which I'm sharing in the chat. There are five. There are five evaluation criteria. As you can read, it's the excellence, impact, uniqueness, EIT Climate-KIC portfolio strategic, and financial sustainability. All of those have the threshold of 3 and the maximum score of 6. The first one, the excellence, is how clear you are on the objectives. The work, the innovation, like also part is include. The second one, it's the impact, which, as you can read, it's the credibility of the pathways to achieve the expected outcomes and impact. How hands-on you will be on the work that you will be doing. The third one is the uniqueness, the specific added value of the program that also takes into account in delivering an area that we have not worked in the past. The fourth one, it's the EIT Climate-KIC portfolio strategic and the fit to our strategic agenda from 2021 to 2027, and of course the recently updated strategy that we have. And the last one, which in our case it's the most important one, is the financial sustainability. That means that you demonstrate in the application that you have the capacity to cover the expenses, to allocate resource effectively, of course, given a specific timeline, and demonstrate that you are prepared for this program. Besides the evaluation like criteria, we can go like to the next one. We also have something that we call like the revenue share. In order like to run the ClimAccelerator like program, as you understand, it requires significant resources. EIT Climate-KIC is responsible for acquiring these resources with the help, of course, the community of ISOs and the ClimAccelerator organizers. For that purpose, as you can also like read, we have followed the following mechanism. We based on a specific like action plan and specific like KPIs that will be setting in the beginning of the program, and given a successful completion of those, then the ClimAccelerators organizers are obligated like to pay like a fixed annual fee of €1,000 to Climate-KIC in the last like quarter. Of course, we will issue the invoice in the last like quarter of this year, and of course you are required also like to settle the invoice upon fulfilling the designated like criteria. It's a mechanism that we had that we designed like for this round to. It will be part of your revenue, and also it will be only in the case that we are delivering a successful program. Then let's review like the next step. We have the second info session like the 1st of March, same time, which we can also like register here, and we'll also like put the link like in the chat. The application deadline for the call for expression of interest is the 15th of March, and as you understand, then the applications will be assessed based on the evaluation criteria that we just touched upon. Then we will send the comprehensive like feedback to everyone, meaning that even if you are selected or not, you will hear back like from us. And of course, to the ones that will go and advance like to the next level, we'll be holding introduction calls, interviews with the selected partners to delve more into their application and understand better their plan. After that, and of course with the final list and the finalists and the selected like partners, we'll be holding like 2 onboarding sessions, and here also the welcome package information, the notion that Morten and access to the system and the platform, we would have like everything, all of our material available. It's the welcome package like information that on Notion. So next steps, we also have like the link. I already like shared it in the chat here. As you can see, the application form. Here's the short link of the application form. It's the second one that I sent. So now I think we are ready like for your questions, if you have any, so we can provide like more clarity on what we're trying like to do. Thank you so much.